Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I hope you're doing good because I am, and I'm excited to be here as usual. So this episode we're going to be talking about the idea of rest, and more specifically resting on God. And we're going to kick things off with a little story time. So we live in South Florida, and something I find interesting as a newcomer is that within every square mile, there's at least one pond or a lake or some kind of body of water. In fact, there's a pond right next to our home, and my son loves it. We spend many afternoons there. It's nice and peaceful. It's kind of like a zone of relaxation and helps him to shift gears and transition to the second half of the day after school. In front of the pond, there's a warning sign that states no swimming or playing in or around the water. And more importantly, do not feed the alligators, meaning there are alligators in the pond, which clearly makes them unsuitable to play in, right? Well, according to my son, wrong. He generally loves the water and will never turn down an opportunity to play in any body of water he's allowed in. So sometimes he tries to run towards the pond and I keep him from getting too close. However, this doesn't stop him from trying and he keeps struggling and expending energy to do so. So let's picture it. Me holding his hands and him pulling as hard as he can with all of his strength and using all the tricks he knows to try to break free. One thing is for sure, no matter how hard he pulls or pushes, I'm never going to let him get into the pond. It's quite a sight, to be honest with you, and it always makes me laugh. But that scenario helps put into perspective how our relationship with God sometimes gets. There are times where he just wants us to rest, but we end up expending energy unnecessarily, trying to get ahead when all he wants for us is to chill, relax, and take a breather and be confident in what he has in store for us. With me and my son, for example, I am stronger and bigger than him, at least for the time being, that is, because the rate at which he's growing, it won't be long now. But more importantly, I love him so much and have his best interest at heart. And I'm committed to keeping him safe and ensuring he has an amazing childhood. So while I stop him from getting into the water that can hurt him, I have better options for him and he gets plenty of time there. Remember, it's Florida, so we get to go to the beach often and even the swimming pool more often. In that same vein, our Heavenly Father has our best interest at heart, and resting in Him helps us save energy. Even better still, it helps us to commit our energy to more beneficial endeavors. So rest has many sides, and it is as much mental as it is physical. We can lean on Him for physical support. Also, we can rest on His promises and His character for our mental and emotional strength. In today's discussion, I want to talk more about the non-physical rests, also known as peace of mind. Because it's something that I believe a lot of people struggle with. I'm sure you know someone, or even you, I bet you might be guilty of this, where you're resting but not really resting, where your hands are not doing anything, or you're lying down in a physical posture of rest, but your brain is going a mile a minute with your heart in tow, beating just as fast because you're trying to figure out the next steps or work out the uncertainties of life, and you just keep yourself in this mental state where you're suffering the consequences of the worst case scenario 20 times before you even get to that point. It can be a lot. And this is why I feel like it's an important concept for us if we want to enjoy life the way God has designed for us to enjoy it. Mark 2:27 tells us that the Sabbath was made to meet the needs of the people and not the people for the Sabbath. We know that the Sabbath was a day of rest and worship, right? So God instituted rest for our benefit. And it's not only so our bodies can be replenished and revived, but it's also so we can put our eyes on God in worship. Worship is acknowledging how great and mighty and powerful God is. And once you spend time worshiping Him, your problems begin to shrink in comparison to how big your God is, because you know that a God so great and mighty calls you child and loves you. In doing so, more peace is introduced into your heart. So, rest in God looks like having absolute confidence in Him, His power, and His love for you, and trusting that because He has your best interest at heart, He's guiding you day by day, so everything works out for your good. That means rather than trying to blow up your brain in an attempt to figure things out, come to Him daily and constantly ask for His help, His guidance, and what He would like you to do at every step. Somehow you will find that things unravel beautifully. It might not always be fun, especially in the middle of the process, but you have that hope in the fact that He's in charge of your life, and so He knows what He's doing, and that gives you peace. There really is a relationship between peace and patience, and impatience is one of the most common ways we bring ourselves undue stress. Culture has conditioned us to strive and scheme so much that when you're at peace in your heart and you're resting on God, some people who don't understand what peace looks like will look at you funny and consider you lazy or foolish or some other thing, either because He's told you to wait and you're not moving when culture says you should, or because you're going in a direction that defies logic. So for many of us, it goes against the very fiber of our being to act out our trust in God and rest on Him and His promises. My encouragement today is this: rest on Him and He will order your steps and make your path straight. He will give you His words that will be a lamp guiding your feet and lighting your path. And the best part is, He has given you the spoiler to your story. He will cause everything to work out for your good. So that's it for this episode. We'll pick up from here in the next episode because there's still so much we can say concerning rest. We will also be discussing practical ways to rest in Him. I can't wait for that episode. So here's my note to self for today. Trust is a verb. If I profess with my mouth that I trust God, then I will let my actions show it and lean on Him to guide my life and my future. Thank you for sticking with me through this episode, and I can't wait to have you back on the next one. Ciao!